becomes worse than the disease?
I couldn't agree more. So we have kind of two supply shocks hitting us simultaneously. One is obviously oil. The other one is memory that goes into the DRAM and the chips and that's ticking over into all of the AI supply chain. What you're seeing in there. So like for viewers at home that don't understand, memory is a component of all the GPUs that you're using to build data centers that's going to make this AI thing possible. The price of DRAM has skyrocketed. So that's DRAM stands for direct random access memory. Okay, hiking interest rates will do nothing to help that. Hiking interest rates will not open the Strait of Hormuz.
Right.
So, and then the rest of the data, and like if you're looking at sources like Truflation, right, which is taking like close to 1 million real-time data sources, we're ticking near 2%, right? So we're kind of close to that Fed's target when you're using non-traditional measurements. Another initiative of Kevin Warsh, the Fed, to update their data collecting. And then like what we're speaking about data collecting, like you look at the massive revisions in this job number from the last 2 months. Okay, I mean, it's hard to say, are these numbers accurate? And, you know, I'd say pre-COVID, you could compare, say, September of 2018 to September of 2015 to kind of disseminate trends over time. And so what I look at is the continuing claims. And right now, we're kind of at the low end where we've been since 2023, which signals, you know, we have a decent labor market, nothing crazy, nothing falling apart.
Well, following on Michael's point here, I think there's
also a phone survey, okay, of employers with only 50 people or more. So like I am technically not in the workforce, right? I assure you I am working, but I am not, by the government, I am not counted in the workforce. So that's why the continuing claims and the weekly jobless claims, it's data in, data out. And from there, I think you can disseminate, and like weekly claims are sub 200,000, which is spectacular.
Cody, how are people
changing? We're trying it. We're putting down the $300.
They say, Cody, it's an AI-first computer that will help users get things done with the goal of making it feel more alive than current smarts.
No way, no chance, no how.
No,
look, I don't trust Sam Altman. You know, it's a good company, but like they're coming up with these. Obviously, there's a lawsuit with Apple about stealing trade secrets. I don't need it. Like I can talk into Claude on my phone, I can talk into Grok on my phone. Like you just hit the speaker button. Like there's no, right? Or, you know, there's Alexa and like I Google's got little devices you can talk to Gemini. It's not
groundbreaking.
And so you got to understand, like they're under so much pressure to keep pushing up the valuation of their companies. So
coming up, you asked, we're answering in this week's
that private equity is looking at a different segment, a segment that maybe these entrepreneurs wouldn't be looking at, so you don't have to worry about that right now. But Mike, we had done a segment the other day where we were talking about colleges dipping into their endowments because enrollment is suffering. They need that money to be able to cover expenses because I guess they're not, you know, recouping it from enough tuition. And so I'm saying to myself, as we're seeing these trends and you start to connect the dots here, people are doing something. They're out there and they know university isn't necessarily where they want to go. They want to try things.
You know, college isn't for everyone, and that's kind of like used to be a way to talk down to people. But you know, it's a reality, and it can be an enormous waste of money. And it's kind of, you see this rise of socialism in this country. A lot of that is people that went out and they have $250,000 in student loan debt for a worthless degree, right? And it's so interesting times we live in, but like I'm a small business owner, like a lot of my family members are, like both sides extended. It's rewarding and it's a wealth builder, right? And it's you know, do you want to be the man or do you want to work for the man? Right? And so it's harder and it's risky, but like, look, the tax code is written for the small business owner, and like per unit of effort and unit of income, like you can keep a lot more, and just so that you'll go out and reinvest, and that's kind of like what makes our country, you know, so.
It's risky, but it's also rewarding when you succeed. People feel a tremendous sense of pride as a result of that. Sometimes you get in a corporate job where you skate in your lane.
Savings to spending ratio for this generation, 0.5%. I actually was surprised it was that high.
Wow.
I thought it would be negative.
You know, so I think a few factors going on here. It goes back to the $20 burrito. It's not the burrito itself. It's not the entitlement that it should be cheaper. It's that like over the last 6 years, you've destroyed the value of our currency. And so saving is hard, all right? And those who can save are rewarded, because if you can save, you can buy stock in this, you can buy a house. But like your cost of living to simply pay for groceries, pay for rent, and have a little bit of a social life can crush the bulk of the income that you're making, even if and if you're in Manhattan, that could be like $100,000 a year. It's very difficult to save. Hopefully a lot of these people, including that, does include their 401k and they're stocking away in there. But my gripe is the entitlement. Right, and it's it goes back to everyone gets a trophy, and I think I was at the beginning of this, and but when I was young, it's why are you giving me a trophy? We didn't win anything, right? I know the teams that we won, right? But and then it's that, and then also it's just they're soft. Like to us, it was sticks and stones could break your bones. Words will never hurt me. Now it's words are violence. Right, so there's a generational change with these kids where it's a move away from consequences. That I am not in charge of my destiny. It's the world's fault that I don't save money. It's everyone else's fault that this isn't working out for me. It can't possibly be my fault. And when you have that attitude, how can you problem solve? How can you say, hey, I'm here. I want to get here. What do I need to do differently? What can I control? And there are definitely people out there that are like that, but it's not as widespread as it was, say, a few decades ago.
I want to move on to a very important story that I know you're going to love, Michael. Speaking of living outside your means, let's go to this. America's favorite game day food is getting an expensive makeover. It's the rise of the $100 hot dog. A friendly Breckenridge Ski Resort now serves a $60 hot dog tower with 6 hot dogs, 6 sauces, and fries. Taylor, my friend, just, tell us about your feelings about the law.
The sales pitch to investors and to advertisers is the effectiveness of their algorithms to keep you on the platform.
Yep.
So it's a hard argument to make in the court of law to say your platforms aren't addictive.
Right.
Right. When you're literally out there on investor calls saying hey, invest in us because our platforms are addictive and so we get the eyeballs. Right. So this is the new tobacco style lawsuits. I'd imagine a lot of these things will get whittled down. In terms of the awards, but this is a massive liability, and they played fast and loose with this. And there's a lot of other bad things that happen on these platforms, and part of it is they're so big and there's so many people, it's hard to manage. But another one is it's not really a priority. You have a founder-led company that's still in this go-go growth mindset, and those things tend to fall to periphery, and the chickens eventually come home to roost with this sort of stuff.
Amen and amen. We're going to have to leave it there. Thank you.
That's what they want to do.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent theory.
And you can disagree.
I think you're giving them too much credit. This is all about a narrative, and grocery prices are too high. They're borderline unaffordable for most people in this country. Boom, so I want the government to come in and save me. Well, you got to ask yourself, you're treating the symptom, not the cause. So the cause is the government spending too much money, they have too much regulation, too much involvement in everything that we do, and that's why grocery prices are too high, along with destroying the value of our currency. So doing this, you're literally asking the arsonist to put out the fire, right? And it doesn't matter in the liberal world sphere, communist, Democrat, socialist, whatever, if it's never worked, even though trying the same thing over and over again and thinking you're going to get a different result is literally the definition of insanity. It's all about narrative. So we need to feed this narrative that these greedy corporations, because it can't possibly be my fault for spending too much money as a government official.
Right.
It's these greedy corporations trying to keep the lights on that are the one driving the prices up. So.
Can I make a quick point here? and I've had to work on this story and talk to grocers about this who are livid, by the way. But there are a couple of ways that the mayor here could bring down grocery store prices. Let's remove congestion prices, because everybody who brings in a truck full of grocery goods.
No, that would be cutting taxes.
Has to pay congestion prices, and it's not cheap. Number 2, there's a 4% tax on the rent that these grocers pay every month to their landlords. Why? That's just money in the pockets of the city.
Yep.
If you remove that, this all offers an opportunity for these grocers to lower their prices.
I'm with you. I think he wants to drive people